After a near catastrophe, we finally got to the right place. Thanks to the fat man over here.
Yeah.
Hey.
How you doing?
Bill, nice to meet you.
Eric, nice to meet you. Joel.
Bill.
Right,
Bill.
Guys, come on in here. Let's give you guys a little history about New Riff here first, guys. So, this whole thing started a little over 30 years ago, in the early 90s, when a liquor retailer named Ken Lewis drove up from Louisville, Kentucky, and ended up buying some property in between Newport and Bellevue, Kentucky. And what he ended up building on that property would end up becoming one of the largest and most successful liquor stores in the entire country, the Party Source. Now, Ken had a senior spirits buyer over there at the Party Source named Jay Ayresman, and they were both responsible for bringing in the whiskey spirits to the Party Source to sell. So because they had that fun job, Ken and Jay got to travel the roads of whiskey near and far into central and southern Kentucky, forming relationships with all those distilleries so they could eventually carry more of their product at the Party Source. And along the way, as they began to explore each distillery, they became engulfed in everything whiskey related. The history, the tradition, the whiskey making process, and of course the whiskey, which is probably what put the idea in their heads that they might want to open up their own distillery someday, right here in northern Kentucky. He looked around and thought, what better place to build than on property I already own and have been operating on for the last 20 years. So when Ken decided to build a distillery over there, right next to the Party Source, guys, there were several serendipitous things that all had come together that said you're gonna make some terrific whiskey here. And the first of those things was water. I mean, if you guys can actually believe this, while that building was under construction in 2012, Ken and Jay were looking at old maps of the area, and they discovered that there was a natural alluvial aquifer right below the parking lot, right where they were building the distillery. So we have this water tested every year. It's always 58 degrees year round. It has a perfect 7.0 neutral pH, and it also has 4 times the minerality of tap water. It's absolutely perfect for making whiskey, and it had been under their feet the whole time. Now, almost 12 years on into the distilling game, folks, a lot of folks in the industry think that Ken and Jay are 2 of the luckiest son of a guns ever, building that distillery and finding our water right below their feet. There was a gentleman by the name of Larry Ebersol who had just retired from the old Seagram's distillery in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, after being a master distiller, master blender out there for about 25 years. Now, Ken had his number. He said, let's give Larry a call, man. Where the heck does Larry live? You know, it turns out Larry lives right here in northern Kentucky, just a few miles down the road in Hebron. So they get Larry in for a meeting, and several things happen during that meeting. The first one was that Larry agreed to train me on board the distilling team. The second, he also agreed to help lay out the design of our facility. And if you ever go over there, folks, you'll see, if you take a tour over there, that's a very modern design. It's a very modern layout in there. And after that, Larry gave Ken what could now be considered in some circles some very famously good advice. He told Ken, you know, instead of hiring a distiller to be your head distiller at New Riff, consider hiring a brewer. You know, brewers love the chemistry of fermentation. And although brewers typically will work with closed fermentation, we use open fermentation at New Riff. Larry told Ken, you find a brewer that you like. I'll teach him the Kentucky regimen. And with the well water that you guys have outside, we're gonna do some great things here. Well, after that, guys, the next serendipitous thing happened. We didn't have to look very far to find that brewer. It was right across the river in downtown Cincinnati on Central Parkway, the old Hugh Pole Shangling Brewery. Now that's one of the largest breweries in the whole Sam Adams chain, and that's where we found Brian Sprance. 15 years as a brewer, now being hired at New Riff to be the head distiller. So if you're keeping track here, folks, we've got 2 liquor retailers and a brewer, all setting out to open up a distillery together, and they all got 0 distilling experience. Guys, we won Best Small Distillery in 2022 from the John Barleycorn Society. We're not doing too bad for 3 guys opening up a distillery with 0 experience. Today's the Barrel Proof Tour. We are going to be tasting 5 barrel proof spirits on this tour. The first one, we are thieving directly from a barrel, and it's going to go right into your glass. You just have to pick the best barrel we've got back here. you come and do a barrel pick with us, in 30 days, we can have your bottles etched. We can have everything packaged. We can have everything ready for you to go and picked up in 30 days. That's a crazy good turnaround time, guys. You do not have to go through a third-party seller. You come right here. We'll buzz you in through the gate. We'll let you around back, and we'll put that pallet right on the truck for you.
What's the rate prices for those?
I'm gonna go ahead and get you some information. If anybody wants any information, I'm gonna get you some information. It's not really, there's not a range of prices. It really depends like how many bottles are coming
We
out
have a barrel right now.
So depending on
Yeah.
how much, I mean, like if you're getting 120 bottles out of it, if you're getting 90 bottles, if you're getting 210 bottles, it's all just gonna depend on the bottle prices. But we will sell you a little more than a quarter barrel, which is 90 bottles. We'll sell you a half barrel or a full barrel, guys. So that's a really good deal. I mean, as far as I know, a lot of places are just doing half barrels or even just full barrels, you know? But 30 days. And depending on when the week is, when you do this, depending on what's going on here, we actually have a 1-day turnaround time where you can come and pick your stuff up, and in 24 hours, you can come back and we'll have everything already finished for you. But you have to ask them what the availability of that is. So 6-year single barrel bourbons right here, guys. This is more 6-year single barrel bourbons here. We're gonna get up into the 4-year once we get up a little closer to the center here. Now, this year, this is an important barrel, folks. So we opened in June of 2014, guys. So we've been open almost 12 years now. This barrel, 10,000th barrel was filled on January 16th of 2018. So we are now up to producing 12,000 barrels annually. But this 10,000th barrel that rolled off the line, that's a very big deal for these guys. That's the room where we're gonna be going here eventually to do our tasting. All right, guys, let's walk this way.
I see some high note over there.
These are all single barrel bottles. At New Riff, we have 2 different coopers that we use. And coopers make barrels. So we use Kelvin outside of Louisville, Kentucky. They're a small, independently owned family company just like New Riff is. We get about 15 to 20% of our barrels from Kelvin coopers. We also get some of our specialty barrels from Kelvin that we use for our single malt project. Has anybody here had a New Riff single malt project? Might be having some of that tonight, guys. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And then we get the other 80 to 85% of our barrels from Independent Stave Company, or ISC, outside of St. Louis, Missouri. Now, our flagship bourbon and rye is our bottle and bond bourbon and rye. Those are a blend of 55 to 65 barrels. And all of those barrels are either a number 1 or a number 4 char. So this here is a good example of a number 4 char right there. It's called alligator skin or alligator back because that's what it looks like, right? The cooper will just put the barrel on fire for 55 seconds, and then they just go and they stuff it out. This is an open air rick house here. It was built by Music Family Construction. Music Family Construction has been in the business of building rick houses in Kentucky for over 80 years. Now this is a very modern rick house, guys. All of the ricks in here are freestanding on a massive slab of concrete. So those ricks don't shift. And then all of these ricks are encased in 62 panels of prefab concrete that are 52 feet tall, 12 feet wide. This is a single-story building with 5 working platforms inside of it. It is almost as tall as our 60-foot column still at the other campus. And this will hold 17,865 barrels when it's at capacity, guys. Now these concrete panels are anywhere from 9 3/4 to 11 3/4 inches thick. And as you can see, they're all painted solid black on the outside, so they will absorb heat. So I had an idea a few years ago to, maybe make an air freshener that kind of smells like the inside of a rick house, right? Not like your alcohol smells. If you got pulled over, it wouldn't be if you've been drinking, but your toffees, your vanillas, your caramels. And then we could call that air freshener New Riff. I thought that was great. I told some people in marketing, went nowhere. This rick house has 5 working platforms, as I said before. These working platforms are all made of cedar, oak, and poplar. Now, all of the ricks themselves are made of poplar wood. 2 poplar trees are the state tree of Kentucky. It's also the same wood that we use to make the bung plugs out of. Although it's a very porous wood, it makes a very good, strong rick. Now, there's 3 rows. We've got 3 rows of barrels on each working platform. They all go back 25 deep. We stack them, obviously, 5 working platforms, 15 high. So folks, this right here is some of our specialty barrels that we are using for our single malt project right here at New Riff, guys. So this part of the barrel here that's all orange, we have painted orange, it's called the chime. So if you look here, a lot of this is our single malt project here. So we've got Pedro Jimenez casks made from American oak. We have Oloroso casks made from Spanish oak. Oloroso casks of American oak. We've also got, Amontillado casks made of American oak there. And then this right here is a big sherry butt, guys. Look at that thing. I have no idea how old this is, but I would love to know. That's gotta be old. Yeah. So all of these, you can see that orange goes all the way down on all three of these ricks here. So yeah, guys, like I said, maybe we'll be trying some of that tonight. I don't know. This is important to note, guys. This is part of Bottle and Bond right here. So, like I said before, bonded warehouse. It's got to be bonded warehouse. Bonded warehouse just means the government has a set of keys and the distillery has a set of keys. So look at that note. This area is being audited. Please do not add or remove any barrels from racks. So yeah, right there, guys. All right, now folks, this is an X bay right here. Now, we sacrificed 2 ricks to put an X bay here and then one on the other side. This is for further stabilization. If you guys have ever been down south, has anybody been down south to see those tall rick houses, like those 5-6 story ones, like over by Heaven Hill and all that? So you guys, when you're in those rick houses, you know it's just a plumb bob, right? They have that plumb bob hanging down because the ricks are attached to the outer structure and they're watching that whole thing shift. If it goes too far one way or the other, it'll fall over. So they've got that plumb bob so they can move barrels around. Now we do have a plumb bob in here. It's way down there. You can see that little string hanging. So we do have one in here, but this X bay really, really helps for that further stabilization, guys. We don't have to worry about that. Now, let's walk in here, guys. Step on in here, folks. Let's get right on in here. Normally, when it gets a little warmer out, I gotta clear out all the spider webs in here, but I don't have to do that right now. We were talking about barrels earlier, so here's some barrels right here. So here we have Kelvin barrels. This whole bottom row right here is all Kelvin barrels. So these barrels, these are always a number 4 char from Kelvin, and the staves themselves were actually air dried outside for 6 months. And then we've got 2 different ISC barrels here. We've got a char number 1 barrel right there. The char number 1, those barrel staves have been seasoned. They've been dried outside for 24 months. And then we've got a number 4 right here. A number 4 char for the ISC barrel. Those wooden staves have been air dried, have been seasoned outside for 18 months, guys. Now, this right here is barrel candy. It's right there, guys. So that happens during the warmer months when the pressure inside that barrel goes up and it'll push out some of the whiskey with it and it'll carry with it some of the water and the sugar. Now, a lot of times when this happens, you don't have to seal this up. You don't have to worry about plugging it because this sugar will crystallize, it'll harden, and it'll just end up sealing the leak itself. Now, speaking of sugar, a good reason why you don't reuse a barrel when you're making bourbon or rye whiskey is because after 5 years, 4 or 5 years, one brand new charred oak barrel is going to give up over 2 pounds of sugar to the spirit resting inside of it. So you're not going to get that sugar back out of it, guys. Also, if you've ever looked at a bottle of scotch next to a bottle of bourbon, scotch always looks a little bit more pale. That's because that char also gets softened up over time. Now, there is a 15-degree difference between the first floor and the 5th floor up there. So we will open up the windows in the summertime to get airflow around these barrels. That's also, we'll open those windows up for employee comfort. That top floor gets so hot up there, guys. The people on the barreling team, when they're thieving samples, they'll sweat through every article of clothing that they're wearing. It's absolutely crazy how hot it gets. And then in the wintertime, we keep the windows closed as much as possible. Again, for employee comfort, but if we do get a day that's over 45, 50 degrees in the wintertime, we will open up the windows and get some airflow around these barrels here. Now, we do not rotate our barrels. Where they lay is where they stay for the duration. Now, we've got a fire suppression system right here, guys. Now, this is a very modern fire suppression system right here. So we have been promised, and hopefully we never have to find out, it's a foam. So we've been told that the foam, if a fire goes, if we do get a fire in here and the foam hits these barrels, the foam will not leak inside of these barrels. It won't get inside of here. And hopefully we never have to find that out, guys.
How's that happen?
What's that?
How's that happen? How's it not getting to the wood?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've been told the foam is thick enough, it's not gonna seep in through those cracks. Hopefully we never ever have to find out. Now, this fire suppression system, it is very modern. I mean, it's localized, right? So if we have a fire right here, you know, this will go off here. We're not gonna have anything go off way up top over there if there's a fire down here. So it's gonna, you know, it'll know where it's at. It'll go ahead and start hitting that foam. Now, the last place the fire department is going to be is here at this distillery if this catches on fire.
Yeah.
They're gonna be in all the neighborhoods around here, clearing out all the houses because this would explode like a bomb. Again, hopefully we don't ever have to find that out. Oh, look at that.
That's good sales.
Look at all that seepage right there out of that barrel. Man, that looks great. Barrel king, just hanging there, man. That is our palletized warehouse right there. So that will hold 19,000 barrels when that is all full. Now, palletized warehouse means you just lay a wood pallet down on the floor, we'll stack 4 barrels on that pallet, and then we stack those pallets up to 6 high inside that warehouse there. Now, we never open the windows that are in that warehouse there, even though it has windows. I have been inside there before with our maintenance manager, Dean Hedger. I promise, if you took a sleeping bag and spent the night in there, you'd wake up just a little drunk. The entire time I was in that warehouse, like checking it out, my nose stung on every breath I took. Every breath, it never got any better.
How much is that for?
We don't do that to her. We don't do that to her. Yeah. We don't do that.
That sounds like a good VRBO to me.
That's what I'm saying.
Longer waiver for that.
Oh yeah, guys.
I'll sign whatever you want.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'm telling you, I was probably in there for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and like I'm talking to Dean, and I'm like, man, my nose keeps stinging. He goes, oh yeah, man. It's like that's those angels. That's that angel share. That's those barrels breathing. Now. When we roll barrels in here, we'll roll them in right through that garage door right there. We'll line them up right here. All these barrels right here are single barrel picks that are waiting to get bottled, guys. That's what this is right here. This is where we dump the barrels. When we're going to dump a barrel, guys, the first thing we do, we roll the barrel in here, we weigh it. This is a very accurate scale. When we want you to weigh it, go ahead and step on it. So they're going to weigh this barrel. Boom. They weigh it. They're going to bring it right over here to this machine. They're going to put the barrel on here, right up here. What comes out of here, guys, is this right here. Big chunks of char right here will come out.
The good
This is
stuff.
what comes out that's in this filter right here. You can see that little pipe coming out of the side right there, right? So we have a little reservoir right there. It's that pipe. Now, once we're done filtering all of this out, everything's going to go through that pipe right there, and it's going to go right up to that machine right there that says Eaton. Now, we're going to do a second filtration on that. What we're going to get out of there is some char that's almost as fine as cigarette ash. So here's the brand new filter that would go into that machine. Here is it used. So yeah, so we're going to get out that char that's almost as fine as cigarette ash, guys. I mean, you can see some like right there on the lip. I mean, it's really fine char right there, guys. But here's the difference. Clean, dirty. Now, once we do all of that, we're going to weigh that barrel again. So we're going to come right back over here. We're going to put this barrel up here. We're going to weigh it the second time, because now what we're going to do, we know what a brand new Kelvin or a brand new ISC barrel weighs without ever being used. So now we're going to figure out how much is trapped in that wood that we're actually losing. So they keep track of all of that. And then after they do that, if it's going to be part of that, if that spirit, that whiskey is going to be part of our 55 to 65 barrel blend, it's going to go into one of those 1,500 gallon containers right there, guys. If it's going to be a single barrel, for a single barrel customer, we're going to put it in one of those 55 gallon drums right there. I don't think there's anything in these anymore, but they haven't erased it yet. So it looks like this was container 102, dumped on 324, 37 barrels. Right here, we've got 330, yep, 36 barrels. So you can see how high 36 barrels goes up right there. You can see that line on the side. When we are done with we use the well water throughout the whole process, cooking, fermenting, distillation, and then once we're done distilling, we are finished with that well water. So at this point, before we go into a barrel, we'll proof down with RO water, reverse osmosis treated municipal water, and then once we're done barreling, once we're done aging, and then we're going to proof it down before we bottle it, we're also going to use reverse osmosis treated municipal water. So we got an RO filter that's in the next room. It's up high, you can't see it. So we're going to use that RO water to cut this spirit down to 100 proof, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to bottle it. Now, if we're using the single barrel drums, we're not going to cut those down to proof because those are single barrels. So those are always going to be barrel strength. So guys, this is our bottling line here. This is made by inline bottling equipment. It takes about 5 to 7 people to run this line, and we run it 3 to 5 days a week depending on what our needs are. Now, if we are doing what's in those 1,500 gallon drums, right, if we're going to do our 55 to 65 barrel flagship blend, guys, we're only going to produce 14,000 bottles in that 1 week off this line. If we're doing all single barrels, it'll only be 7,000 bottles. The reason being for that is because every time you run one of those 55 gallon drums through, you have to stop and then change out all the stickers, and then hook up another drum, and then get it all going again. So 7,000 bottles if it's going to be single barrels all week. If it's going to be that blend, it'll be about 14,000 bottles that we'll get off this line. That's our mini bottling line. That's where we do our little 50 milliliter bottles that we sell in the gift shop, guys. These little guys right here. That's what these little guys. That's this bottling line right here. Now here's what's crazy, guys. We have actually had requests from single barrel customers that want their entire single barrel bottled in those little bottles there.
Charge an extra?
No, we've never done it. We won't open that Pandora's box, but I have heard that people have requested it. And I get it. It makes sense. Great little calling card, like, hey man, here's my bottle. You know, I get it, but yeah, we're not going to open that can of worms. All right, guys, let's come this way.
Damn it.
Get a few of them.
There goes our idea.
All right, our barrel entry proof here at New Riff
Sold it with his eyes.
is 110 proof. Our mash bill for bourbon is 65 corn, 30 rye, 5 malted barley. So keep that in mind. We're going to guess the proof of this, guys. I have a little machine in that room there. We're going to test and see who gets closest to the proof. Guys, this is the barrel proof tour, man.
I'm not blown away, Larry.
So I'm just gonna kind of like get down.
If you get down on your knees, we'll ball it like a beer. Just open your mouth. Barrel number 6 out of 14 barrels. We get about 10 to 15 barrels out of each fermenter, depending on what it is that we're making.
That high rye.
Damn good right there. That's really good.
Double aging it and putting it in the warm barrel.
That's good whiskey.
Does anybody else want to venture a guess before we walk back there?
I'm switching to 114.
You're gonna switch to 114. Gotcha.
Honorable granddad.
You staying at 115. Gotcha.
I'll go
How about you, sir?
I don't know, I'll go under, I'll go $1.
I'm picking 110, maybe 109 here. I'm thinking the same thing. I don't think it's gonna be very high. Let's go in here and check what it is, guys. All right, here we go, guys. We're gonna check. Wow. All right. I think this is gonna surprise everybody. 104.
Wow.
104. Yeah, man. I was thinking. That's why I was like, "There's no way this is 110." Like this is. I was like 109. 104.14.